Lisa Martinez walked through the gleaming halls of Nexus Prime Station, her worn boots making soft sounds on the polished metal floor. The space station orbited high above the galactic commerce hub, where ships from 1,000 worlds came to trade. She had built her company from nothing, starting in the dirty industrial zones of New Detroit 15 years ago. Back then, she worked with her hands every day. She sorted through piles of metal scraps, broken electronics, and industrial waste that other companies threw away. Her small warehouse smelled like oil and rust. Her clothes were always dirty from crawling through junkyards and factory dumps. The other business owners in the sector called her names behind her back. The one that stuck was Rag Lady because she wore old work clothes and dealt with garbage. Now she owned Terra Solutions, one of the biggest resource recovery companies in the galaxy. Her business turned waste into valuable materials that factories needed. She employed 50,000 people across 200 worlds. Her company's logo was painted on ships that traveled between the stars, but the aliens on her board of directors still saw her as the woman who used to sort through trash. Lisa entered the conference room where the quarterly meeting would begin soon. The room had a large window that showed the stars beyond. A long table filled the center, surrounded by chairs designed for different alien body types. She took her seat at the head of the table and waited. The first to arrive was Klex 9, the chief financial officer. He was a Zephyrian, with a body made of living crystal that caught and reflected light. His face had sharp angles that never showed emotion the way human faces did. He nodded to Lisa without warmth. "Good morning, Klex," Lisa said. "Indeed," he replied in his high, cold voice. "I trust today's discussion will be productive." More board members entered the room. Vorth Ka was the vice president, an Altarian, with 4 arms and skin like purple leather. She moved with quick, jerky motions that made humans nervous. Behind her came 3 other alien executives, all from different species that Lisa had learned to work with over the years. Her human assistant Jake Morrison entered last, carrying a data pad and looking uncomfortable. He was young, maybe 25, with brown hair and nervous eyes. He had worked for Lisa for 2 years, but still seemed surprised to be in meetings with alien business leaders. "Let us begin," Klex 9 said without waiting for Lisa to speak. He activated the holographic display in the center of the table. Numbers and charts appeared in the air, showing Terra Solutions' financial reports. "Our profits have grown by 12% this quarter," he announced. "However, our expansion into the core worlds has been slower than projected." Vorth Ka gestured with 2 of her 4 arms. "The problem is clear. Human business methods work well for salvage operations and colony supply contracts, but the sophisticated markets of the inner systems require different approaches." Lisa listened without speaking. She had heard this kind of talk before. Klex 9's crystal face reflected the light from the holographic display. "The board has been discussing this issue at length. We believe Terra Solutions has reached the limits of what can be achieved under current management." "What are you saying?" Jake asked before Lisa could stop him. "We are saying," Vorth Ka replied, "that the Rag Lady's methods worked when this was a small operation dealing with industrial waste. But Terra Solutions is now a major galactic corporation. It requires leadership that understands the complexities of interstellar commerce." The other alien board members nodded in agreement. One of them, a insect-like Thraxian named Zektor, clicked his mandibles before speaking. No disrespect intended to Lisa Martinez. Her work in building this company from nothing is admirable, but running a small recycling business and managing a galactic corporation are very different things. Lisa folded her hands on the table and watched them talk about her as if she was not there. This was not the first time she had been in a room where others decided she was not good enough. It would not be the last. "The core world clients expect certain standards," Klex 9 continued. "They want to deal with executives who understand their culture and business practices. They are not comfortable working with someone who started her career sorting through garbage." "That's not fair," Jake said, his voice getting louder. "Lisa built this company from nothing. She knows more about resource recovery than anyone in the galaxy." Vorth Ka made a sound that might have been laughter. Knowing how to find scrap metal in a junkyard is not the same as understanding galactic finance and trade regulations. Perhaps, said another board member, a gray-skinned Valorian named Kethmal, it would be beneficial for all parties if Lisa Martinez took a consulting role. Her experience with waste management would still be valuable, but day-to-day operations could be handled by someone with more appropriate credentials. Lisa finally spoke. Her voice was quiet, but clear. What kind of credentials do you think I need? The aliens looked at each other. Klex 9 answered for the group. Advanced degrees in galactic commerce, experience with interstellar trade law, cultural training for dealing with core world governments, the kind of background that prepares someone for executive leadership. I see, Lisa said, and none of you think I have those qualifications. With respect, Vorthka said without any respect in her voice, your background is in manual labor and small business operations, very different from corporate leadership. Lisa nodded slowly. She looked around the table at the alien faces staring back at her. These beings came from worlds with advanced technology and ancient civilizations. They had been traveling between the stars for centuries before humans even invented the radio. They saw her as a primitive creature who had gotten lucky. Well, she said finally, I appreciate your honesty about how you see me. The meeting continued for another hour. The aliens discussed expansion plans, budget allocations, and strategic partnerships. They talked over Lisa when she tried to contribute. They dismissed her suggestions as too simple or outdated. By the end, it was clear they had already decided what they wanted to do. After the other board members left, Jake stayed behind with Lisa. He looked angry and frustrated. That was completely unfair, he said. They acted like you don't know anything about your own company. Lisa stood up and walked to the window. Below them, ships moved in and out of the station's docking bays. Cargo containers were loaded and unloaded by crews from dozens of different worlds. They think they know what I am, she said without turning around. They see someone who used to get her hands dirty, and they think that means I'm not smart enough to run a business. But you proved them wrong by building Terra Solutions. Lisa smiled, but there was no warmth in it. I did, but they still think it was luck or accident. They don't understand what it really takes to build something from nothing. She turned to face Jake. They're going to try to remove me, probably within the next few weeks. Can they do that? If they get enough votes on the board, yes. They can force me out and install whoever they want as the new CEO. Jake looked shocked. What are you going to do? Lisa picked up her datapad and headed for the door. I'm going to show them what happens when you underestimate the rag lady. 3 days after the board meeting, Lisa sat in her office on Terra Solutions' main headquarters station. The room was simple compared to the fancy offices of galactic corporations. She kept pictures of her early days on the walls, including one of her first warehouse in New Detroit where everything began. A soft knock on her door interrupted her thoughts. Amy Rodriguez entered without waiting for permission. Amy was Lisa's head of security, a former Marine who had served in the Outer Rim conflicts before joining Terra Solutions 5 years ago. She had short gray hair and scars on her hands from combat. Her face was always serious, but today she looked worried. We have a problem, Amy said, closing the door behind her. Lisa looked up from her computer screen. What kind of problem? Amy placed a datapad on the desk. The kind that could end your career. I've been monitoring communications like you asked me to do after the board meeting. What I found is worse than we thought. Lisa picked up the datapad and started reading. The first document was a message between Klex 9 and someone at Galactic Dynamics, Terra Solutions' biggest competitor. The message talked about acquisition opportunities and management changes. They're planning a takeover, Lisa said. It gets worse, Amy replied. Keep reading. The next file showed bank records. Klex 9 had been receiving payments from Galactic Dynamics for the past 6 months. Large payments that could only mean one thing. He's been selling them information about our company, Lisa said. Financial data, client list, contract details, everything they would need to plan a hostile takeover. Amy confirmed. Vorthka is involved too. She's been setting up meetings with Galactic Dynamics executives. Lisa scrolled through more documents. The conspiracy was bigger than she had imagined. The alien board members had been working together for months to remove her and sell the company to their competitors. "How did you get all this?" Lisa asked. Amy smiled for the first time since entering the office. "You hired me because I know how to find information. Corporate security systems are easier to crack than military ones." Lisa continued reading. The plan was simple but effective. The alien board members controlled enough votes to call an emergency meeting and remove her as CEO. They would offer her a generous payment to leave quietly. Once she was gone, they would restructure the company's finances to make it look less profitable than it really was. Then Galactic Dynamics would make a low offer to buy Terra Solutions. The alien executives would accept the offer and take their cut of the money. "They think they're so smart," Lisa said. "But they made one big mistake." "What's that?" "They don't understand how Terra Solutions really works." Another knock came at the door. Peter Chang entered, looking excited and nervous at the same time. Peter was the head of engineering, a human who had joined Lisa's company when it was still small. He was thin and tall with thick glasses and always carried a tablet full of technical diagrams. "Lisa, you need to see this," Peter said. "I've been analyzing our operations like you asked, and I found something interesting." He activated the wall display and showed a map of human space. Hundreds of small lights appeared across the star chart, each one representing a Terra Solutions facility or partner. "I've been tracking where our real profits come from," Peter explained. "Everyone thinks our main business is the big contracts with core world corporations, but that's only 30% of our revenue." Lisa stood up and walked closer to the display. "Where does the other 70% come from?" "Human colonies in the Outer Rim, small mining operations, agricultural worlds, military outposts, places that the big galactic corporations ignore because they think the profits are too small." Amy joined them at the display. "How small are we talking about?" Peter touched his tablet and numbers appeared next to each light on the map. Each individual contract is small, but there are thousands of them, and they're all exclusive agreements that can't be transferred to another company. Lisa stared at the map. She had known her company did business with human colonies, but she had never seen it laid out like this before. The network was huge. "Why can't the contracts be transferred?" Amy asked. "Because they're based on personal relationships," Peter explained. "These colony administrators and base commanders trust Lisa personally. They've worked with her for years. The contracts all have clauses that void the agreements if Terra Solutions changes ownership or management." Lisa smiled slowly. "So if the aliens fire me and sell the company to Galactic Dynamics, we lose 70% of our revenue within 6 months," Peter finished. "Galactic Dynamics would be buying a company that looks successful on paper, but would collapse as soon as the sale went through." Amy laughed. "They don't know, do they? The aliens think they're stealing a profitable garbage collection business." "They have no idea," Lisa said. "They've been so focused on the glamorous contracts with core world corporations that they never bothered to understand where our real money comes from." Lisa walked back to her desk and sat down. The 3 humans who had been with her the longest stood around her, waiting for instructions. "Peter, I need you to prepare a detailed analysis of our colony network. I want to know exactly how much revenue we would lose if I was removed as CEO." "Already working on it," Peter replied. "Amy, keep monitoring their communications. I want to know when they plan to make their move." "Done." Lisa opened her computer and started typing. "There's something else. Jake mentioned that they've been replacing human department heads with aliens over the past few years. I want to know how many of our key positions are now controlled by them." Amy pulled out her own data pad. "I can tell you that right now. In the past 2 years, they've installed aliens as head of finance, marketing, legal affairs, and operations. The only department heads left that are human are Peter's engineering team and my security division. And those are the 2 departments they can't replace easily," Lisa said. "They need Peter's people to understand our recycling technology, and they need my security team to protect company assets." Peter looked confused. "But if they control most of the department heads, why haven't they moved against you already?" Lisa stopped typing and looked at him. "Because they're waiting for the perfect moment. They want to make sure they have all the pieces in place before they strike. Amy checked her data pad. According to the communications I intercepted, they're planning to call an emergency board meeting next week. They'll claim you're not competent to handle the core world expansion and vote to remove you. Then we don't have much time, Lisa said. She stood up and walked to the window. Outside, cargo ships moved between the station's docking bays. Most of them belonged to Terra Solutions, carrying recycled materials and recovered resources to colonies throughout human space. They think they understand my business, Lisa said without turning around. They see the waste processing facilities and recycling plants and think that's all there is to Terra Solutions. But they never bothered to learn about the relationships I've built over 15 years. She turned back to face Amy and Peter. They're about to find out what happens when you try to steal something from someone who built it with their own hands. Amy grinned. What do you want us to do? Get me a meeting with our most trusted human employees, department heads, facility, managers, colony liaisons, everyone who's been with us since the early days. How many people are we talking about? Peter asked. Lisa thought for a moment. Maybe 50. All humans who understand what this company really means and how it really works. When do you want to meet with them? Tomorrow night, and make sure the meeting is completely secure. No alien. Employees, no recorded communications, no digital traces. Amy nodded. I'll arrange it. As her two most trusted employees left the office, Lisa sat back down at her computer. She had work to do before the meeting. The aliens thought they were going to fire the rag lady and take her company. Instead, she was going to show them what human determination and loyalty could accomplish. The battle for Terra Solutions was about to begin. The meeting took place in an old cargo bay deep inside Terra Solutions headquarters. Lisa had chosen the location carefully. The bay was used for storage now, filled with spare parts and equipment that reminded her of the early days. No security. Cameras watched this area, and Amy had swept it for listening devices twice. 52 humans sat on metal crates and folding chairs in a rough circle. These were the people who had built Terra Solutions alongside Lisa. They included facility managers from dozens of worlds, engineers who had designed the recycling systems, and colony liaisons who maintained relationships with outer rim settlements. Lisa stood in the center of the circle. She wore her old work clothes instead of the business suits she usually put on for meetings with aliens. Tonight she wanted to remind everyone who she really was. You all know why we're here, she began. The alien board members want to remove me and sell our company to Galactic Dynamics. Angry voices rose from the group. Carol Stevens, who managed operations for the Outer Rim colonies, stood up. She was a tough woman in her 50s who had worked in space mining before joining Terra Solutions. They can't do that, Carol said. This company belongs to all of us. We built it together. Legally they can, Lisa replied. They control enough board votes to fire me and restructure the company however they want. Dan Parker, the legal counsel, shifted uncomfortably on his crate. He was a quiet man who preferred reading contracts to making speeches, but he knew corporate law better than anyone. The contracts with our colony partners might protect us, Dan said. Most of them have personal service clauses that void the agreements if you're no longer running the company. That's part of what I want to talk about tonight, Lisa said. But first, I need to tell you something that most of you don't know. She activated a portable holographic projector that Peter had set up earlier. A three-dimensional map appeared in the air above them, showing human space with thousands of glowing connections. This is what Terra Solutions really looks like, Lisa said. Not the corporate structure that the aliens see, but the actual network of relationships and contracts that make our business work. The humans in the circle leaned forward to get a better look. The map showed connections between Terra Solutions facilities and human settlements that stretched across hundreds of light years. It was much bigger than any of them had realized. Each line represents a contract or partnership, Lisa explained. Mining colonies that sell us their waste materials, agricultural worlds that need our recycling services, military bases that rely on our resource recovery systems, manufacturing facilities that depend on the rare elements we extract from garbage. Mark Thompson, who supervised the recycling plants in the inner systems, whistled softly. I had no idea we were connected to so many places. That's because we've grown organically, Lisa said. One relationship at a time, one contract at a time, always based on personal trust and mutual benefit. She touched a control, and the map zoomed in on a cluster of colonies near the galactic rim. Take the Frontier Mining Consortium, 12 worlds that extract rare metals from asteroid belts. They generate huge amounts of industrial waste, but the big corporations won't work with them because the individual contracts are too small. So we stepped in, Carol said, understanding immediately. Right. We built recycling facilities on their worlds and trained their people to operate our equipment. Now they turn their waste into valuable materials and sell the surplus to us at below market rates. Peter stood up and pointed to another section of the map. And the agricultural colonies, in the outer rim. They need our soil treatment systems to grow crops on marginal worlds. Exactly. We don't just collect their organic waste. We process it into fertilizer and soil additives that they need to survive. It's a closed-loop system that benefits everyone. Lisa moved around the circle as she talked, making eye contact with each person. These were her people, humans who understood that business was about more than profit margins and quarterly reports. The aliens on our board see Terra Solutions as a waste management company that happens to be profitable, she continued. They think we succeed because we're good at collecting garbage and turning it into something useful. But that's not the real secret, Amy said from her position near the door. No, it's not. The real secret is that we understand something the big galactic corporations don't. We know that trust and long-term relationships are more valuable than short-term profits. Lisa stopped walking and faced the group. Every human colony, every mining operation, every agricultural world in our network has the same story. They were ignored or cheated by the big corporations. So when a small human company offered them fair deals and honest service, they jumped at the chance. And once we proved we could be trusted, they stayed loyal. Carol added. That's right. These aren't just business contracts, they're partnerships based on mutual respect and shared benefit. The colonists know that Terra Solutions will always deal with them fairly, and we know they'll always honor their agreements. Dan Parker pulled out his datapad and started checking files. I've been reviewing our contracts since the board meeting. Almost every agreement with human settlements includes personal service clauses or relationship-dependent terms. What does that mean in practical terms? Asked Janet Wong, who managed the company's communications network. It means that if Lisa is removed as CEO, or if the company is sold to outsiders, most of our contracts become void, Dan explained. The colony administrators and base commanders can cancel their agreements and find new partners. The room fell, silent as everyone absorbed this information. Finally, Mark Thompson spoke up. So if the aliens fire Lisa and sell the company to Galactic Dynamics, we lose most of our business within 6 months, Peter finished. Galactic Dynamics would be buying a company that looks successful on paper, but would collapse as soon as they took control. Lisa nodded. That's exactly right. And there's something else they don't understand. Our recycling technology isn't just about the equipment. It's about the knowledge and relationships that make the systems work. She gestured to Peter and his engineering team. We've spent years learning how to work with colony administrators, mining supervisors, and agricultural managers. We know their needs, their limitations, and their goals. That knowledge can't be transferred to new owners. The aliens think they can just replace Lisa with one of their own people, and everything will continue as before, Amy said. They don't realize that Terra Solutions is built on human relationships that took 15 years to develop. Carol stood up again. So what do? Do we just wait for them to make their move? Lisa smiled, and for the first time in days, it was a genuine smile filled with confidence. No, we're going to show them exactly what they're trying to steal. She walked back to the holographic projector and changed the display. Now it showed financial projections and revenue breakdowns. The aliens think our main business comes from the big contracts with core world corporations. Those are the agreements they understand and value. But those contracts only generate 30% of our total revenue. The other 70%? Comes from the human colonies, Peter said. Right. And that 70% is completely dependent on personal relationships and trust. It can't be sold or transferred to another company. Lisa looked around the circle at the faces of her most trusted employees. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to walk into that emergency board meeting and let the aliens try to fire me. And then I'm going to show them what happens when you try to steal something you don't understand. What if they don't believe you? Janet asked. Then they'll find out the hard way, Amy replied with a grin. Lisa turned off the holographic projector, and the cargo bay returned to its normal lighting. I need all of you to be ready. If this goes the way I expect, we're going to have some big changes in the next few weeks. What kind of changes? Mark asked. The kind that put Terra Solutions back under human control where it belongs. As the meeting broke up and people filed out of the cargo bay, Lisa felt a sense of calm determination settle over her. The aliens thought they were going to fire the rag lady and take her company. Instead, they were about to learn why you should never underestimate someone who built an empire from nothing. Lisa arrived at the emergency board meeting 30 minutes early. She wanted time to set up her presentation before the alien executives arrived. The same conference room on Nexus Prime Station looked different in the morning light. Through the large window, she could see cargo ships moving between the docking bays, many of them carrying Terra Solutions logos. Jake Morrison helped her connect the portable holographic projector to the room's display system. He looked nervous and kept checking his datapad for messages. Are you sure about this? Jake asked for the third time. I'm sure, Lisa replied. They want to fire the rag lady. Today they're going to find out what that really means. The first alien to enter was Klex 9. His crystal body reflected the morning light as he took his seat across from Lisa. He carried himself with the confidence of someone who believed he had already won. Good morning, Lisa, he said in his cold voice. I trust you understand why we called this meeting. I have some idea, Lisa replied. Fourth Ka entered next, her forearms moving in quick gestures as she spoke to another board member. She glanced at Lisa with what might have been pity on her alien features. The other executives filed in over the next few minutes. Zektor the Thraxian clicked his mandibles in what Lisa had learned was a sign of anticipation. Kethmal the Valorian moved slowly to his chair, his gray skin looking paler than usual. Two other aliens completed the group that controlled Terra Solutions' board of directors. Let us begin, Klex 9 said once everyone was seated. The board has called this emergency meeting to address concerns about the current leadership of Terra Solutions. He activated the room's display system and showed financial charts and performance metrics. The numbers looked good, but Klex 9 presented them in a way that suggested problems. While our profits remain stable, our expansion into core world markets has been disappointing, he continued. Our human-focused management approach is limiting our growth potential. Vorthka leaned forward with two of her arms on the table. The board believes that Terra Solutions has outgrown its current leadership structure. We need executives who understand galactic commerce and can navigate complex interstellar business relationships. What exactly are you proposing? Lisa asked, though she already knew the answer. A change in management, Kethmal said in his slow, deep voice. You would remain with the company as a consultant on waste management operations, but day-to-day leadership would transfer to executives with more appropriate qualifications. Zektor's mandibles clicked again. We have identified several candidates from our professional networks who could assume the role of chief executive officer. Lisa nodded slowly. I see. And these candidates would be aliens, I assume. Species is not relevant, Klex 9 said. Qualifications are what matter. The galactic business community expects certain standards of professionalism and sophistication. Standards that you don't think I meet. With respect, Vorthka said without any respect in her voice. Your background is in manual labor and small-scale operations. Terra Solutions is now a major corporation requiring different skills. Lisa stood up and walked to the holographic projector she had brought. Before you vote on this proposal, I'd like to show you something about Terra Solutions that you might not understand. She activated the projector and the three-dimensional map of human space appeared above the conference table. Thousands of glowing connections linked Terra Solutions facilities to colonies, mining operations, and settlements across hundreds of worlds. The alien executives stared at the display in silence. Klex 9 was the first to speak. What is this supposed to represent? This is Terra Solutions' actual business network, Lisa replied. Every line shows a contract or partnership that generates revenue for our company. She touched a control and numbers appeared next to each connection. The figures were huge, much larger than the aliens had expected. Our partnerships with human colonies generate 4.7 billion credits per year, Lisa continued. That's 70% of our total revenue. Vorthka's 4 arms gestured frantically. This cannot be correct. Our financial reports show that core world contracts are our primary income source. Your financial reports show the income from contracts that you understand and manage, Lisa said. But Terra Solutions has been building relationships with human settlements for 15 years. Those relationships generate most of our actual profits. She changed the display to show detailed breakdowns of individual contracts, mining colonies that sold waste materials exclusively to Terra Solutions, agricultural worlds that depended on the company's soil treatment systems, military bases that relied on their resource recovery technology. Each of these partnerships was built on personal relationships and trust, Lisa explained. The colony, administrators and base commanders work with Terra Solutions because they trust me personally. Kethmal studied the numbers with growing concern. Why were we not informed of these arrangements? Because you never asked, Lisa replied. You were so focused on the glamorous contracts with core world corporations that you never bothered to understand where our real money comes from. Klex 9's crystal face remained emotionless, but his voice carried a note of uncertainty. Even if these figures are accurate, business contracts can be transferred to new management. Lisa smiled and changed the display again. This time it showed the legal terms of her colony contracts. Actually, they can't. Almost every agreement includes personal service clauses that void the contract if I'm no longer running the company. Dan Parker entered the conference room at that moment, carrying a thick folder of legal documents. Lisa had asked him to arrive, precisely at this time. Dan is our legal counsel, Lisa said. He's reviewed all our colony contracts. Dan, would you explain what happens if the board removes me as CEO? Dan cleared his throat nervously. He was not comfortable speaking to rooms full of aliens, but he knew his job. 68% of our revenue-generating contracts become void if Lisa Martinez is no longer the chief executive officer of Terra Solutions, he said. The colony partners can terminate their agreements immediately and seek new service providers. The alien board members looked at each other with growing alarm. Vorthka was the first to understand the implications. You are saying that removing Lisa would destroy most of our business. That's exactly what I'm saying, Dan replied. Lisa walked around the table, making eye contact with each alien executive. You see, when you build a business from nothing, you learn to value relationships over short-term profits. These human colonies were ignored or cheated by the big galactic corporations. When Terra Solutions offered them fair deals and honest service, they became loyal partners. She stopped behind Klex 9's chair. But that loyalty is personal. It's based on trust that took years to build. You can't transfer it to new owners like a piece of equipment. Zektor's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of distress in his species. But surely some accommodation could be reached. The colony administrators are reasonable beings. Are they? Lisa asked. Let me show you something else. She activated her communicator and contacted Carol Stevens, who was managing operations from the Outer Rim. Carol, are you there? I'm here, Lisa. How's the meeting going? The board is considering removing me as CEO and installing alien management. What's your opinion on that idea? Carol's voice came through clearly with anger that surprised the alien executives. If they fire you, Terra Solutions loses all its contracts with the Frontier Mining Consortium immediately. 12 worlds, 8 billion credits in annual revenue. We'll tear up the agreements the same day they announce your removal. Lisa looked at the shocked faces around the table. Carol, are the other colony liaisons listening to this call? We're all here, Lisa. 15 facility managers representing 38 human settlements. If the aliens want to take over our company, they can do it without us. Thank you, Carol. I'll talk to you later. Lisa ended the call and returned to her position at the head of the table. The alien executives sat in stunned silence as they realized the full scope of what they had tried to steal. You wanted to fire the rag lady and install sophisticated management, Lisa said. But you never understood what Terra Solutions really is. It's not just a waste management company. It's the foundation of human economic independence in the galaxy. Klex 9 tried to regain control of the situation. Surely we can negotiate some arrangement that benefits everyone. Negotiate? Lisa asked. You mean like the negotiations you've been having with Galactic Dynamics behind my back? The alien's crystal body went completely still. Around the table, the other executives realized that their conspiracy had been discovered. That's right. Lisa continued. I know about the money they've been paying you. I know about the takeover plan. I know everything. She walked back to the holographic projector and shut it down. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to withdraw your proposal to remove me as CEO. You're going to resign from the board of directors. And you're going to leave Terra Solutions forever. You cannot force us to resign, Vorthka protested. Lisa smiled, and this time, it was not a pleasant expression. Actually, I can. Amy, would you join us, please? Amy Rodriguez entered the conference room with 2 security officers. She was carrying a data pad and wearing the expression she had learned in combat zones. The security officers escorted the alien board members out of the conference room one by one. Klex 9 tried to argue about legal procedures and corporate rights, but Amy Rodriguez was not interested in listening. She had dealt with much more dangerous enemies during her military service. You have 24 hours, Amy repeated as Klex 9 was led away. After that, you'll be banned from all Terra Solutions facilities. Vorthka made angry gestures with all 4 arms as she was removed from the room. This is not over, she hissed at Lisa. We will challenge this in Galactic Court. Good luck with that, Lisa replied calmly. Within 10 minutes, the conference room was empty except for Lisa, Jake, Amy, and Dan Parker. Jake sat in one of the chairs looking stunned by what he had witnessed. Is it really over? Jake asked. The first part is over, Lisa said. Now we have to clean up the mess they made and rebuild the company the right way. Amy checked her datapad for messages from her security teams throughout the Terra Solutions network. All former board members have been removed from company facilities. Their access codes have been canceled and their personal belongings are being packed. What about the information they stole? Dan asked. The data they gave to Galactic Dynamics? Lisa walked to the window and looked out at the busy docking bays. Ships were loading and unloading cargo as they did every day, keeping the galactic economy moving. Let them have the information, she said. It won't do them any good. Why not? Jake asked. Because the information they stole was about the 30% of our business that doesn't really matter. The core world contracts that any company could handle. They never understood the 70% that makes Terra Solutions special. Lisa turned back to face the others. Galactic Dynamics can try to copy our recycling technology and steal our corporate clients. But they can't steal the relationships I've built with human colonies over 15 years. Amy grinned. They're going to find that out the hard way. Over the next few hours, Lisa began the process of rebuilding Terra Solutions' leadership structure. She promoted Peter Chang to Chief Technology Officer and gave him authority over all engineering operations. Carol Stevens became Vice President of Colony Relations, managing the vast network of human settlements that generated most of the company's revenue. Amy Rodriguez was promoted to Chief Security Officer with expanded authority to protect company assets and information. Dan Parker became General Counsel with a larger legal team to handle the complex contracts that held the business together. We need new board members, Lisa said during an afternoon meeting with her new executive team. But this time, they'll all be humans who understand what Terra Solutions really is. How many positions do we need to fill? Peter asked. 7. I want facility managers from different regions, colony liaisons who know the outer rim markets, and engineers who understand our technology. Jake Morrison, who had been promoted to executive assistant, made notes on his datapad. What about investors? Won't we need alien capital to fund expansion? Lisa shook her head. We're going to do this the human way. We'll reinvest our profits and grow at a sustainable pace. No more board members who think they know better than the people who built the company. 3 days later, Lisa received a message from Galactic Dynamics. Their CEO wanted to schedule a meeting to discuss mutual business opportunities. Lisa deleted the message without reading it completely. A week after that, reports began coming in from across human space. Galactic Dynamics had approached several of Terra Solutions' colony partners, offering to buy out their contracts at premium rates. Every single colony had refused the offers and reported the attempts to Lisa personally. They still don't understand, Carol said during a video call from the Outer Rim. The mining consortium administrators laughed when Galactic Dynamics offered them more money. They said no amount of credits could replace the trust Terra Solutions has earned. Lisa was not surprised. She had spent years learning that human colonies valued reliability and honesty over short-term financial gains. The settlements that had been ignored or cheated by big corporations were not interested in new partnerships with unknown entities. 2 months after the board meeting, Terra Solutions announced record profits. Without the alien executives taking their share of revenue and selling information to competitors, the company's finances improved dramatically. Lisa invested the extra money in new recycling facilities and better equipment for colony partners. Jake brought her the quarterly reports on a quiet Tuesday morning. The numbers showed growth in every category that mattered. "We're doing better than ever," Jake said. "Revenue is up 18%, and we've signed contracts with 12 new human settlements." "What about the core world business?" Lisa asked. "Down by about 15%, but it doesn't matter. The colony network more than makes up for it." Lisa nodded and signed the reports. She had always known that the glamorous contracts with wealthy core worlds were not the foundation of her business. The real strength of Terra Solutions came from serving communities that other companies ignored. Her desk communicator chimed with an incoming message. The sender was identified as Keth Mal, the former Valorian board member. "Lisa Martinez," the message began. "I hope you will consider my request for a meeting. I believe I may have misjudged your capabilities and would like to discuss the possibility of future cooperation." Lisa read the message twice, then deleted it. Some bridges could not be rebuilt once they were burned. Amy Rodriguez entered the office with a smile on her scarred face. "I have news that might interest you. Galactic Dynamics just announced they're closing their resource recovery division. Apparently, they couldn't make it profitable without the information they were getting from our former board members." "Good," Lisa said. "Maybe now they'll understand that you can't steal success, you have to build it." She stood up and walked to the window that showed the busy docking bays of Nexus Prime Station. Terra Solutions ships moved between the berths, carrying recycled materials and recovered resources to colonies throughout human space. "Jake, schedule a meeting with the new board members for next week. I want to discuss expansion plans for the Outer Rim territories." "What kind of expansion?" "The kind that helps human communities become more self-sufficient. New recycling facilities, better waste processing systems, training programs for local workers." Lisa had learned something important during her years of building Terra Solutions from nothing. The best business was not about taking profits from others, but about creating value that benefited everyone involved. The alien executives had called her the Rag Lady because they thought dealing with waste and garbage made her inferior to their sophisticated galactic perspectives. But Lisa had turned that supposed weakness into the foundation of an empire. She had proved that human determination, ingenuity, and relationship building could triumph over alien arrogance and corporate manipulation. More importantly, she had shown that success built on trust and mutual benefit was stronger than success built on exploitation and short-term thinking. Terra Solutions would continue to grow, but it would remain fundamentally human in its values and approach. The company would serve communities that other corporations ignored, turning waste into wealth and building relationships that lasted for decades. The Rag Lady had won more than just a corporate battle. She had demonstrated that humanity's greatest strength was not advanced technology or military power, but the ability to build something meaningful from nothing and to value people over profits. As the afternoon shift began in the docking bays, Below, Lisa Martinez returned to her desk to plan the future of the company she had built with her own hands. There was still work to do, and she had never been afraid of hard work.